I know you have strong opinions about how restaurants are run today. Labor costs, turnover, it's just too high. What do you think about how restaurants are run and how they could be improved?
So, I think back 31 years. So it'll be the 31st anniversary of Chipotle this coming July. And we all knew what the fast food format looked like. We knew how they operated, and then Chipotle came along and we did things differently. In fact, we did everything differently. And it turned out to be a platform that's quite popular. Now you see fast casual restaurants opening very successfully, bringing really great food to the eating public. And I think that's awesome. The platform that we have at Kernel is yet another complete change, a complete reinvention of the way restaurants work. And it has so many benefits, but to name a couple of highlights, the food can be much, much better. You can really elevate the food through very, very careful and intricate and precise preparation, which accounts for most of the success of any particular dish or menu. And we have a production system that requires fewer people to operate. So there's a lot of automation, there's some robotics, it's digital first. And so normally when you see maybe a dozen people at peak period at a typical restaurant, we would have 3. And they're working alongside this automated robotic production system. And the precision and the consistency and the reduction of the monotony for producing large orders throughout the day is extraordinary. So the platform is really working, and I'm very, very proud of it. So really, this new Kernel platform does 2 things: better food, better economic model.
So you're 4 months in, you're calling it kind of a beta phase of Kernel. What have you learned so far?
So, I think we got the platform right. We have a central kitchen that's just a few blocks away, and that will service Lower Manhattan, and call it a 1 to 15 or so hub and spoke model. And freshly prepped food is constantly delivered to the restaurants throughout the day. So there's very, very low inventory, and the freshness very, very high, and that we can deliver accurately, on time, piping hot, beautifully composed, is great. And the reduction of stress on the 3 employees is extraordinary. And so very, very proud of that. I got some things wrong though. So the way the restaurant presented to the customer was, I think, a little bit too future. People opened the door, they came in, and they're like, what is this? I'm like, well, it's a restaurant, but it's not obvious it's a restaurant. You see a robot arm, you see, seafoam green cubbies with lights on them and things, and people were a little confused. So we're closing next week. We're going to do a little refresh in the front of the house and have some things that typical restaurants have, like some seating and some softness and some pictures. And so I think that one I missed the mark on, but we quickly pivot, and again, we're in beta. I started out, with a strict vegan diet, and we've meandered into vegetarian. So we've included cheese and some sauces that are mayonnaise based, so some egg yolk, and that's been very popular while still preserving vegan options for our vegan customers. And we'll probably explore a chicken sandwich, a real chicken sandwich. Right now we have a fake chicken sandwich, and I think that I got that wrong too. The entire menu is real food. And when I say real food, I like to go back to Michael Pollan's mantra, and it guides the way I eat, and I think it's a really healthy way to think about diets. And the mantra is, as most of you know, it's eat food, mostly plants, not too much. And what he means by that is eat food that your grandparents would recognize, whole, raw ingredients, grains, legumes, veggies, meats, and things like this. Mostly plants, though, focusing on grains, legumes, veggies with some animal protein, and then not too much, and that's, of course, the responsibility of the customer according to his or her caloric needs. And so And so the part of the menu that I got wrong is that I had a fried chicken sandwich that was not chicken.
Okay.
It was very good. It's actually delicious, but it was more of an engineered product. And I think I would be much more proud of a real chicken, coming from, of course, a really great source. And we're vetting a chicken farmer upstate right now who I think is going to make the cut, and it's a very, very special. It'll be a very, very special chicken sandwich.
How are sales and margins so far? I know, again, it's only 4 months in.
Yeah.
What are you seeing now, and what do you think in the future? What it could
Yeah,
look like?
so we deliberately started off very, very slow. We didn't do any marketing. It was a very quiet opening because the platform was really not tested, right? And so I didn't want to have lines, out the door and having this thing fail. And the system crashed. In the first month, we had crashes where it could close down the restaurant for the whole lunch period, sometimes for 5 or 10 minutes. That was happening in the first month. It's been very, very stable lately, so now we've started to do some more marketing and a lot of digital stuff, and we're driving customers in, and they're liking it very much. Too early to talk about margins, but I will say that the overall economic model wins for a number of reasons. We are in a space that's, less than 1,000 square feet. We don't have an investment in any of the typical infrastructure. There's no gas or hood or venting and the power requirement is less than 200 amps. So it's really, really sort of light and very little investment. Our labor, of course, is only 3 people. Now we pay them a lot more. We pay them a handsome hourly wage, plus benefits, plus paid vacation, and our HR team now is working on an equity program designed for hourly employees, something that they can really relate to and get into, because we want to share a piece of the action with them, the potential upside, and so really those are 2 big factors on the economic model. So margins are going to be great. We just need to build the business. So I'm calling the grand opening for this thing happening on July 10th. So that's coming up in just a couple of weeks, and you'll see the new image. You'll see the new menu items, and I'm ready.
So you're a futurist of sorts. Look in your crystal ball, and when do you think you could see widespread automation in restaurants? And in 5 years, in 10 years, when could we really see the benefits of automation helping this labor-intensive industry?
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to see it creep in already. I think that Sweetgreen has done a really nice job with bringing in the folks who started Spice Kitchen, some really great thinkers in automation and robotics, and they built their Infinity Kitchen, and it's here in Naperville, and I went and visited a few months ago. It's pretty awesome. It's not exactly the way we think about automation, but it's a way, and it works well for them. I think many people are going to dabble in different kinds of automation and robotics that might work for them. Kernel is really it really is from the ground up different. Everything's different, and it's a platform that's built for the technology that we know is coming. And it's going to be very easy for us to plug in new technology into the platform, and then the folks who are working there will probably move more toward the customer-facing positions, focusing on hospitality, maybe monitoring a dashboard. It's just to make sure the systems are working, but we're really reinventing the fast food work. Mm-hmm. If you think about why is our turnover rate so high, I mean, you hear numbers like 150% annualized turnover in these restaurants, and it's very difficult to operate with that kind of instability. No one's really getting expert at their particular job, and it's especially important to get this under control for fast casual restaurants, where there's a lot of prep being done in the restaurants. There's still real cooking, knives and cutting boards and pots and pans and things. We've moved away from fast food into this real cooking. So it's important to really keep people. So reinventing the work, I think, is very, very important. There's 2 parts of it: the pay and the work. and you've got to reinvent both of them.
Yeah, why do people not want to stay in these jobs? It's just the nature of the work. Young people today, I don't know, is it they don't want to cook in a fast food kitchen? Do you have to make the jobs just easier?
I mean, I can't answer that, but like when I was a kid, I was in high school in the 80s, and I had fast food jobs and mowed lawns and did things like that, and as did all my peers. That's what we did. It doesn't seem that that's the typical experience today, and I'm not saying that's bad or good or whatever. It's just like the reality is that if you're operating a business that depends on lots of labor, I think you're going to be in trouble. So, and people are realizing that and starting to migrate toward more automation. Someone is going to get it right. Someone's going to figure out this code of the right kind of platform system, and
maybe that's you.
Well, I'm hoping. Well, I think we're building a great team of engineers and coders and people who are thinking, about the technical aspects of bringing this thing together and preparing it to again receive more technology that we know is going to become available, and it's super exciting. But on the restaurant side of it, on the food side of it, I'm really proud of the platform's ability to have a dedicated central kitchen. And this isn't like a commissary. A lot of fast casual restaurants use commissaries for things that have a longer shelf life, and it is generally in a slow distribution system. Our central kitchen is in a fast distribution system, so constant flow of freshly prepped food, and the chefs with their team of prep cooks are turning out amazing food. I mean, this is like really fine dining quality stuff. What's cool about one of the things that's really cool about the Kernel menu is that we have these lots of vegetable side dishes, and it's not just the vegetable, but it's the vegetable, a grain or legume component, a sauce component, and a crunch component. And each of the different vegetables compositions has these various parts to it. It's intensive prep work, but then the system churns these things out very precisely and very consistently. Customers are loving it, and I'm really excited that we could make these kinds of vegetable sides part of the fast food diet. I think it's really exciting.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. Zooming out, you talk about the Michael Pollan diet. This is how we should be eating, but so many Americans don't eat like that. How do you change the American diet?
So, it depends on how you look at it. Like, if vegetables are not available, if they're not part of the offering, of course they're not going to be part of your diet. When they're delicious and part of the offering and fairly priced, people are going to eat them, right? And so you have to make them available, and you have to make them delicious, and you have to make them accessible.
How are your meals priced, and what's a fair price in your mind?
People are commenting in New York City that our meals are very fairly priced, and I would say that if you look at the fast casual spectrum, we're probably on the lower side of fast casual, with some things in kind of like the fast food range. So.
Yeah, speaking of fast food, value wars are playing out in restaurants right now. Consumers are fatigued. They're just like, we want something that's a deal. How do you fit this concept into kind of an ethos among consumers right now, is we need a break?
Yeah, so it was interesting. So I opened Chipotle in 1993, and my chicken burrito, I think, was $4.25. And people said, Steve, you're crazy. I'm like, what? That's the fair price for this. And this is Taco Bell was doing menus that had 59, 79, and 99 cents. And people said, well, no one's going to pay $4.25. McDonald's had dollar menus and bundled value meals. In fact, they all had these kinds of, and so that people said, you're not showing the right kind of value. And what was not part of the fast food thought, I think, at the time, is that quality is part of the value equation. And so we were, of course, pushing boundaries on the quality of ingredients, not only fresh ingredients, but understanding the provenance, how animals are raised, how veggies are raised, and people loved it. So value is a tricky one. When you have something of great quality, you can charge a fair price for it.
And I want folks in the audience to start thinking about questions, because we'll be going to questions soon. So you've created big things from scratch. It's a difficult time to be doing that.
Create a big thing.
Well, and a new thing.
We can see if we can go plural.
Yes. Any advice to entrepreneurs about how to start something new in today's business environment?
I don't know if today's business environment is or how it's different from when I started Chipotle, really. I think that maybe the fundamentals would be the same. I mean, I believed passionately in what I was doing. I really, I loved the menu. I loved the way we organized the ordering and the design. It was such a departure from typical fast food, and to me, it just made so much sense. You think about the ubiquity of that today, but back in '93, customers would walk in and poke their head in and turn and walk away. They didn't get it. Or customers would walk right to the cash register. I'm like, no, not this. You have to go over there. And people are like, wait a minute. Every single fast food place, you walk to the cash register. And then they'd say, well, I've had like a chicken burrito. And then we'd have a number of questions for them. And that was a lot of friction. People didn't understand why so many questions. Just whatever, give me what it comes with. And so really there was lots of learning. And so, it was not obvious that it was going to be a wild success from day one, but you have to just stick to your guns and keep at it. You have to listen to customers, but listen to them in the right way. A lot of customers were telling me, oh, you need more menu variety. You only have two things, burritos and tacos. I said, yes, but the combinations make it a big menu. But you need dessert, and you need coffee, and you need this, and you need that. And I really stuck to my guns for decades about simplicity and streamlining operations, and instead of offering more variety, offering more quality. So, but you've got to, as an entrepreneur, you have to figure out your niche, and you have to maybe try to figure out what customers want, even though they're not asking for it.
Well, asking our customers, our audience, any questions for Steve? Immediate takers. Well, then I get to ask you more questions.
Excellent.
Are you still going to Chipotle? Why or why not?
So I don't go to Chipotle much at all anymore. I am in Kernel all the time. So if you stop by for lunch at Kernel, that's where I am, and that's what I'm eating.
So Chipotle has had issues lately on social media about their portion sizes. I know you have strong feelings about Chipotle's portions and what do you think of them?
Well, so again, diets are so individual, right? Everyone needs different amounts of calories, depending on how many calories they burn. People have different kind of eating habits, and so who am I to judge? I would say that those who complain about, I've never experienced someone walking out of Chipotle hungry, by the way, in my 30 some odd years. It doesn't happen. So those who complain about portion sizes, I'm not sure I quite get it, but I understand it's a thing out there. I just sort of chuckle because Chipotle is quite generous. It always has been, and I think it always will be.
We had the president of McDonald's on earlier today, who was asked about, should McDonald's be a treat? Should we eat it regularly? What do you think about eating fast food? I assume that's not part of your diet, but what about an American's diet?
Well, my argument with Chipotle was that just because it's fast doesn't mean it has to be a typical fast food experience. Most of us eat fast food, or fast casual food, or eat convenient food, and so there's nothing preventing us from making that food really wholesome, really delicious. I think really, if you go back to Michael Pollan as a guide, eat food, mostly plants, not too much, and make it really scrumptious, really delicious. You can give the option to people to eat foods that are probably, really good for them.
So Alice Waters last night talked about local food and trying to eat more locally. And she said, it's doable. You've also built supply chains from scratch, really focused on local producers. How realistic is that for mainstream restaurants?
It's more difficult for chain restaurants. And my experience at Chipotle, I opened in the summer when corn was in season, and I took corn off the cob with a knife. And then winter came around, and of course, we're not shucking corn in the winter. Tomatoes were in season in the summer, and I stuck with that menu year round. And that cilantro is not grown in the north. Our cilantro is grown mostly in California, and so you have to rely on a distribution system. So I think it's a nice notion to eat more locally and more seasonally. It does present a challenge for chain operators because people want their usual stuff. Now we're going to try to push boundaries at Kernel. We have a base menu of things that are generally available year-round, but then we will try to offer seasonal vegetable compositions as they are available in the farmers market just a few blocks away. As you scale, though, and are operating in multiple states, that becomes an extraordinary difficulty. So I think you can still have really good quality veggies, but you have to know that they're going to come from different parts of the country and maybe even different parts of the world, and this distribution system is part of that. I think we're getting better, though, at reducing greenhouse gases from our transportation. Our transportation is becoming much more efficient and thoughtful. So I think that can help offset.
Just last, what's your go-to Kernel order?
I'm cycling through so many things right now, but the chef Andrew came up with a great new sandwich. It's a take on sort of a classic eggplant parm, and it's on our toasted brioche-like bun that we get from Balthazar. And the eggplant, it's a fried eggplant patty. And usually you see the eggplant parms, but you cut them into rounds, right? But you only have one perfectly sized round out of the eggplant. So he chops this up and roasts the eggplant, then puts it back together with the mozzarella cheese on the inside, and it has some other legumes and veggies in that, and then breads that and fries it, and it's the most delicious thing with marinara sauce. I mean, it just tastes like grandma made it, and I'm very proud of that. So that's my
Hopefully we'll get to try it next year.